Yo, what's up, kids? So I'm here today with Lily Mercer, who is, well, she does a lot of stuff. She's got her own magazine called Viper Magazine. What else? You're on Rinse, Beats.
I'm on Beats One.
So a lot of
blogs.
Oh, and blogs. So there's a lot of cool stuff. But I thought today, because we did another video before at this school, but I thought today what we could do is chat a little bit about how Lily started Viper Magazine, in case anybody out there is interested in starting a magazine or even a blog, anything like that. So yeah, why don't you walk us through, like, how did the whole Viper Magazine thing start? Like, how did you get an idea for it? How did you start to do something?
Well, I kind of always wanted to start a magazine, and Viper itself started as an idea when I was frustrated that there were no hip-hop magazines left that I wanted to buy. So I originally grew up buying The Source and loved it. And then when I was in my last year of uni, I went to London College of Fashion. I did a fashion journalism degree. The final year project was to make a magazine. And rather than doing a fashion magazine, I did one about youth anger, because I felt there were a lot of things going on. It was 2010, and I was like, there's a lot of social anger around, you know, post-coat gangs. There was the riots a year later. So it was kind of about the tension. So that was called Viper. So essentially the idea started then, but 3 years later it came back as a music magazine. And I just kept the name because I thought it was really cool, but I thought it still represented the same idea. It just kind of morphed more into a music magazine or a lifestyle magazine for music fans.
So, but did you start? How did you start it? Did you just get a website? How did you start the initial thing?
I spent about a year planning it. So in 2012,
a year planning it, damn,
yeah, that's the only thing. Or like, and I mean, I know my target market quite well, but I still spent a year focused on what it was going to look like, what the name was going to be, what our colour was, what 10 words represent us. These were things I'd learned in my degree, so I knew that side of it in terms of the planning. And I mean, my degree, they made us spend 3 months planning that one, and that was just a final year project for uni. That never came out.
But do you think everybody, like, does everybody need to do that? A year to plan
I
something like that?
think you should spend 3 months planning it, definitely.
3 months?
Especially if you've never worked in that field before. Like, if you were to be like, oh, I'm going to start a drag racing magazine, and you've never done it in your life, you've got to spend a year doing that. But if you, I mean, I've grown up like kind of loving hip hop. I know a lot about the history of hip hop. I've been doing interviews for SBTV for a couple of years. I had a lot that I could kind of say, justify that I knew this scene well enough to do a magazine. But I still spent enough time kind of planning, like, who was my target market, describing like what that person wore, where they shop, how much money they spent, because that's how you really go to a publisher, or like that's how a publisher
all the details, Okay,
so I didn't need to do that, and like, I mean, I felt that it was justified, but it took me a year to get to the stage where I actually was going to make a zine version. So the first issue of Viper was 50 pages, and that was Darky Freaker on the cover. It was basically me saying, this is a magazine I'm going to make, but I didn't want to put too much into the first issue,
But how do you, so once you have all the information, and then you want to kind of make it into a real thing, what's the next step once you've done all your research?
I guess figuring out who your team is. Obviously, you don't have to edit it yourself, but you could, you could basically publish it. I chose to edit it, and I've been editing it from the start, but I also am essentially the publisher. So then I have a deputy editor. All of those people came in after, I will say. I did start it kind of just reaching out to photographers I knew.
But you got favors from people, I guess, at the beginning, or what? Because you didn't, pay all these people.
No, and the thing is, I was quite lucky to know a lot of people that were already branching out into music photography. I had a really good friend of mine, Jessica Lehman, who was shooting for Rolling Stone and like New York Times, but she was still up for shooting stuff for me that wouldn't go into those magazines. If I was to say, like, shoot this rapper from New York for me, she would be there in a second, because she lived in New York and thought he was cool. So I got something out of having them work for me, but at the same time they got a piece in a print magazine, and also one that was quite new. Like, a lot of the people that worked on Viper at the start hadn't really done much print stuff. Even like the first people that did our covers had never done a cover before.
So it's kind of like trying to work out an exchange with some friends, like some people you know.
Definitely.
Something that's like beneficial for both parties.
Yeah.
To start something, right?
They get exposure, but you also get someone that you can trust and that you like enjoy working with. And a lot of the people that are in the first issues, I genuinely believe are going to go on to be quite well-regarded people in music photography or in writing, like journalists, And then later on, we got people like Mike Miller, for example. Like Mike Miller, he was quite happy to do it for us because he had shot all these people like Tupac, Eazy-E, Snoop Dogg. They hadn't shot all the young guys, so we were like, here's Vince and Al, do you want to shoot them? Which is a great opportunity for a photographer that's got all of the kind of, you know, the old school legends, start kind of, you know, seeing who the new ones might be.
Is it more important now to do like a print one or a online one? What's the best route, I guess?
I think it's more important to make a really, really sick, like genuine magazine that covers the scene. I think that either way, if you, I mean, you can do an online magazine, it doesn't cost you that much money, but you might not be getting that many hits because there's so many online magazines now. If you have a real niche, then that's what you are going to have, you know, success with.
So find your target market.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, cool.
And know them inside out, know what they want before they even know what they want. So, and seeing something, like someone once said to me, in fact, like a couple of people have commented on Viper being really well branded, which is quite weird to me because, like, as much as I say I spent a year planning it, some magazines they launch and they've spent like, you know, thousands of pounds like in an agency, an ad agency, and getting them to design their logo, their colour scheme and stuff like that. And I don't think that's as genuine as like kind of when you can just do it by saying like I know what an 18-year-old guy from London listens to, even if it's not what I listen to myself. So I feel confident making a magazine about something. And then knowing that he doesn't just shop in JD Sports, like our fashion content, I was like adamant that wasn't going to just look like, you know, like basically a spread of JD Sports. Like I wanted it to have a fashion edge and to, like from the start I said Viper was basically if GQ and the Source had a baby. Or even GQ and the Face.
You had a super clear vision is what it is, to be honest with you.
Exactly, which is
and
why
you had a niche as well. And then you put together a team of people that were relevant and stuff like that. And exactly. And and you care a lot about your subject too, so that obviously 100%. Comes through in everything you're doing.
Like I don't make money off Viper, and like you know that's why it's like I want everyone to make money, but at the same time it's like we don't do this for money, and I said that from the start. I'm trying not to lose money.
But that's
so
the thing though. I think that's if you don't do things for money, in the end you usually end up making money, right? And you end up having like getting positive attention from people because like the product is quality. You want to put out quality, don't you?
But at the same time, I'd rather be cult than make money. So I made this magazine because I think that it's important. It matters. Like it's like there's something needs to fill that gap.
Community, right? Exactly.
And like even with just the content, like we talk about culture. We introduce people to photographers and things like that. We're not just saying like here's a rapper, like here's another like fashion brand you should buy. In the middle, there's like articles about like social stuff. Like the very first issue, the zine, I wrote a piece called The Sound of Chirac, and it was all about how people are so focused on the violence in Chicago, but here are some amazing people making music, and maybe we should like look at that more than just like being like, oh, all these people are being killed.
You had something to say.
Yeah, exactly. So every issue has like a very heavy social theme, and like we do actually.
That's your lane. Exactly.
Because it's not all of, it's deeper than rap basically. It's not all about just the music side. It's like there's a whole culture that we're trying to represent and not like dumbed down.
Yeah. Cool, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Lily's link below. Check it out. It's Viper Magazine. And if you have any questions as well, just leave some comments below and then we'll come back to you on some stuff.
I'll try and answer questions.
Yeah.